What are you gonna do today, Napoleon?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh!
Well, gosh, today we're going to be talking about formatting in Microsoft Word. And formatting is really going to be the bread and butter of our work that we do in Word because we're going to be using it on every single project from here on out. Basically, formatting changes how our text appears in our document, both on the screen and when we print our documents. To help you learn formatting, we're going to be doing some hands-on work using this Formatting Anatomy worksheet. Make sure that you download and save as to your computer apps folder and the correct week in that folder. Now this Formatting Anatomy lesson is going to be a little different than our last anatomy lesson, which if you remember was when we used Google to find out the parts of Microsoft Word's screen. And in this video, we're only going to be focusing on one tab on the ribbon. Now if you remember, the ribbon is the whole bar that goes all the way across the top of our screen, and it's comprised of different tabs, and within those tabs different groups of tools that we can use in our documents. And the specific tab we're going to look at is this Home tab, which is always the default tab when we open or create a new document. And that's because the Home tab will always include any tools needed to format our documents. So the Home tab, once again, contains any tools relating to formatting or changing the appearance of our text in our document. So rather than just label each formatting option, you're actually going to do some hands-on formatting. For example, if we were defining bold as one of our formatting options, you would actually bold the word bold. All right, so here we go. Now, if you're looking at this worksheet, you're going to notice that there are a lot more things to label here than the 7 parts of the screen we labeled before. So before we went to Google and we searched our 2016 Microsoft Word parts of the screen, and then we looked at a bunch of different images and we used those images to help us find the answer to what each part of the screen was. But now we have like 30 different things we're trying to label, and using Google would take probably a pretty long time. So I'm going to teach you a little trick in Microsoft Word to determine what different parts of the screen are. All you have to do is take your mouse and hover it over the icon that you're trying to figure out. So if I look at number 1, it says Calibri Body. Now that's not my actual formatting name. Instead, I'm going to go up to my ribbon Home tab. I'm going to find where Calibri Body is, and notice that when I hover over Calibri Body, it pops up this little tooltip that says that's the font or new font for my text. Now if I click this drop down menu, these are all the fonts my text can appear in, and your fonts may be slightly different than mine, but I've got a ton. Now remember, we're actually going to practice doing each formatting option. So I'm going to come down in my first blank line, and if you aren't there, just double click and you'll get to your first blank line. And I'm going to hit type 1, and that is the font Face. So I've identified it. Now I need to practice formatting it. To do so, tell Microsoft Word what you want to format by highlighting it. So I highlight Font Face. Then notice I have a smaller ribbon that popped up here. So if I wanted to format my font face by just going to this small ribbon, I could, or I could go all the way up to my font group and I can pick any font face I want. And I don't care what you guys pick. You can pick whatever the heck you want. I'm going to pick this Langdon. And now I'm able to see that number 1 is font face, and I can actually preview what formatting a font face looks like. At this point, go ahead and label and format the remaining numbers 2 through 26. Do note that if I go down a line and I'm ready to type 2, I'm still in that same font face as before, and that might happen with some other formatting. If so, and you want to start over and clear your formatting, you are going to use the gasp! Clear formatting option. Now if we go up to our Home tab, that is this icon right here. If I hover over it, it says clear all formatting, or removes any formatting from our selection, leaving our normal unformatted text. And it looks like an eraser because if you're writing and you make a mistake and you erase it, you start over. So again, I do have to select my 2 and then I go up and I press my clear formatting, and notice I'm back to the very beginning. At this point, you should have labeled numbers 1 through 26 and formatted each number. And then you can go ahead and save that as Formatting Anatomy and upload it to Schoology. And now we're going to break it down even further into the different group of formatting options that are on that home tab. So on the home tab, notice I have this first group, font group, and then I also have the second group, which is the paragraph group. So the first group we're going to break down is the font group. So looking at this picture of the font group, I'm going to ask you some specific questions about which formatting options are currently available. Feel free to go back to your Formatting Anatomy worksheet to help you identify which option is which. Or remember, you can always open Microsoft Word and hover over the formatting option if you get stuck. Font face determines what our letters look like. So in this case, the letters would be in Century Gothic. And the font size, which is right next to that, determines how big our letters are. So our font size would be 14. If you want to use a font that's not on this drop-down list, you can easily just click in the drop-down list and type in whatever font size you want and press enter. That's right. Anytime a certain formatting option is turned on, it's indented or highlighted in gray, like the bold option is right now. The same is true for any color option. Whatever is showing in the little box is whatever color would be highlighted or whatever color the font would be. So in this case, the highlighted color would be yellow and the font color would be red because that's what's previewing in the color box. A case of text determines how our letters appear in terms of lowercase or uppercase words. You can toggle your case of text in Microsoft Word to either be sentence case, in which case the first letter of each sentence would be capitalized, lowercase, where everything would be lowercase, uppercase, where everything would be uppercase, capitalize each word, where every single word would have the first letter capitalized, or toggle case, which would be the inverse of capitalize each word. The first letter of every word would be lowercased. Finally, we can add a bunch of different effects to our text, and there are preset effect group options, which when you hover over them, give you their name, or you can do individual types of effects by clicking any of the options below from these menus. Our next questions will focus on this picture of our paragraph group. Again, reminder to use your Formatting Anatomy worksheet or to hover over the icons in Word to help you answer these questions. And just as with our font group, anytime a formatting option is turned on, it's indented or highlighted in gray. So we are left aligned, and the color previews work the same way. It's shown in the little box below the icon. Now if there is no color, it's going to look clear like this. So there is no fill actually in this paragraph. Finally, remember that any of these triangles next to the tool button will display more options for that tool. And that takes care of your overview of the formatting options under our Home tab on the ribbon. Again, remember to submit your completed, labeled, and formatted Formatting Anatomy assignment to Schoology.
Peace out.